All right, let's talk about building relationships. Not just any relationships, but ones that actually feel secure and, meaningful. We're going to look at how we can step away from all the chaos of modern dating and move towards something that's truly fulfilling.
Does this sound familiar to you? That endless loop of connections that just fizzle out and you're left feeling totally drained, wondering, is there a better way to do this? If you are just so tired of the ambiguity and that whole emotional roller coaster, then you are definitely in the right place.
So here's what's really at the heart of the issue. You've got two paths. On one side, there's this unintentional dating, right? Where we kind of just drift into connections, letting things happen without any real direction. But on the other side, there's a much more proactive approach, where you're consciously building a relationship with purpose and with clarity. And the difference between those two? Well, it's absolutely profound.
So what's the antidote to all this chaotic drifting? Well, we call it the intentional compass. Think of it as your mindset, your toolkit. It's going to guide you toward creating those secure connections you've been looking for.
Let's break this down. Intentional dating isn't about having some rigid checklist or being inflexible. Not at all. It's really just a mindful, thoughtful process. It simply means you get really clear on your own values and your goals, and then you make choices that actually line up with them. And that's what leads you to genuine connection. And this right here is such a huge mindset shift. It's not a numbers game. It's not about how many dates you can cram into a week. It's all about the quality of those interactions. You start saving your emotional energy for people who show real potential, and you get to step away from that burnout that comes from endless, superficial swiping. Okay, so where do we even begin? Step one is all about you. Because before you can find the right partner, you really have to have a deep and honest relationship with yourself first.
And look, this part is just non-negotiable. Self-awareness is the bedrock of this entire approach. I mean, trying to build an intentional relationship without first understanding what you need, what you value, and what your patterns are, it's kind of like trying to navigate a new city without a map. You're just going to get lost.
So here's a really practical way you can start. Take some time, seriously, and reflect on these three questions. First, what are my core values? I mean, what principles truly guide your life? Second, what are my non-negotiables, your deal breakers? What are the absolute must-haves and can't-haves for you in a partner? And finally, a big one. What patterns from my past relationships do I want to change? Knowing the answers here, that's what gives you your compass. Okay, so once you start to get to know yourself a little better, the next step is all about how you connect with other people. We're going to move beyond those surface-level sparks to something that's way more sustainable. Let's talk about emotional attraction. This is that magnetic pull you feel towards someone's inner world, their mind, their kindness, their character. It's that incredible feeling of safety and understanding, that feeling where you can just be your complete, authentic self with them, and you know it's okay. And here's why making this distinction is so important. Physical attraction, that's often the initial spark, right? It's intense, it's exciting, but honestly, it can be pretty fleeting. Emotional attraction, on the other hand, that's the steady flame. It's what actually builds the trust, the security, and that deep bond that makes a relationship last through all of life's ups and downs. So, how can you actually spot this? Well, you've got to be aware of the red flags, like that super intense chemistry that might just be masking someone's inability to really connect on a deeper level. Instead, start looking for the green flags, the things that signal a secure foundation. We're talking about consistent behavior, genuine kindness, and a real curiosity about who you are beyond just the surface stuff. All right, now we get to the actual architecture of the relationship. This is about the actions and the structures you put in place that create a safe, reliable connection for both of you. Boundaries get a bad rap. They aren't walls you put up to keep people out. Think of them as guidelines that teach people how to love and respect you. For example, a boundary might sound like, hey, I really enjoy our time together, but I'm not really available for last-minute plans. I would love to see you if we can plan a day in advance. See? It's clear, it's kind, and it's an act of self-love that creates the emotional safety you need for a healthy relationship to even have a chance to grow. And that brings us right to trust. And here's the key thing to remember. Trust isn't some passive feeling that just magically appears. Nope. It is actively built, brick by brick, through a pattern of actions. It's all about dependability and knowing deep down that your partner's words are going to consistently match their behavior.
We can actually break trust down into these 4 pillars. First up, you've got consistency. Do their actions match their words? Second is reliability. Are they there for you when it really counts? Third is honesty, which is all about creating that transparency and vulnerability. And maybe the most important of all is repair, the ability to take responsibility, to apologize, and to reconnect after disagreement. That is where real resilience is built. So when you start putting all of these pieces together, the self-awareness, that deep connection, and the structures of trust and boundaries, what you're doing is creating a brand new blueprint for your relationships.
I love this quote because it really just captures the whole idea. When your relationship is guided by these kinds of shared principles, you have a compass. It keeps you on course no matter what challenges you face together. It gives you direction and it gives you security. And that is the big takeaway here. By being intentional, you take your power back. You're no longer just leaving your emotional well-being up to chance. Instead, you're engaging in this deliberate, beautiful process of creating authentic, truly meaningful connections.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. It doesn't have to be some massive, life-altering change. What is one small intention you can set right now for your connections today? Maybe it's just to be a little more present on a date, or maybe it's to spend 5 minutes thinking about one of your core values. That one small step, that's the beginning of building something new.